Nice.
Are you enjoying your new job?
I am, very much so.
It looks like you're very busy.
And wait, his first paycheck.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Hi, Stacy.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Where's your husband?
Still there.
Oh,
Didn't want to sit next to her.
You know when I'm at, he wants to come.
He doesn't like the front row.
Oh, okay. I can't blame him. I don't like
Yeah, I
it.
was always an A student. I'm good with the front.
that's 100%. So, all right. Well, I think everybody that's here is going to be here. We are live with Pulaski Talks, and Doug, thank you for showing up and thank you for putting this on for us for live. I will let you know that we will have our working dogs coming in here. I want to show you all the working dog and how it works. There's a aid planted in the room, so you'll get to see that. But again, I appreciate y'all coming here. This is our first Pulaski County Community Forum, and I want to put out information to you, and I want to receive feedback as well. Good, bad, and different. It doesn't matter. I got a thick skin. At this job, you got to have thick skin. So if you have a complaint, I'm not looking for praise. I'm not looking for everything we do right. I know there's things out there that we can improve on. So if you have any of that stuff, bring it to my attention, and we will go from there. So first thing I want to talk about is our budget. Our budget. The one that I didn't receive that I gotta get tomorrow is our law enforcement tax. But I will tell you by our budget right now, we're sitting at from 100% to 69%, 68% on all of our budget lines, and that 68% is well, 66% drug testing and screening, because my deputies, they don't know when, but at any time they come in and they do 10% of our deputies every month. So we got to pay drug testing and screening fees. So we're looking good on our budget so far. We haven't really purchased anything in our budget. It's been bills, bills, bills. And when you take over, I never realized all of the monotonous little tiny ankle biting bills that go with this sheriff's office. So we are quickly, we quickly found that out, and we've managed to look at a few things to try and get out of, so that they just weren't needed. But so far, everything within our budget, we've been able to maintain within our spending, within our balance, and that's what I promised y'all we would do, is be a steward of the budget. We haven't gone crazy, and some of the equipment that I talk about later, I'll tell you how we're getting it. So we've managed to use outside resources to get a lot of our big ticket items instead of $1,092 calls for service. And I break it down every month, and pretty soon when the app comes out, and I'll talk a little bit more on the app, when the app comes out, all these calls will be on the app. They're not going to be in totality. Well, correction, they will. You will see how many calls, like over the course of the year, it's going to accumulate up top. But I won't have to be putting out these stats. So to the point where I got to break it down like this, because you're going to be able to see what we're doing out there on the road. And that's what I want you all to know, what our deputies are doing out there for the community, for you, instead of thinking we're back here at 4:03 and we're not doing nothing. We're watching movies or we're just out sitting around. The deputies are hopping and popping every day, every night. I can tell you, I mean, we're inundated with calls, and we've been able to respond to all of them. From my knowledge, I haven't received anything that says we haven't been able to get to a call. We might not get to it right now. We triage the calls. The most important get there first, and then we back off and we go to the next available call. But some of the big calls that we've had over this past month, we've had 35 accidents that we've responded to. Not that we've conducted, state highway patrol takes the accidents, but we're usually the first ones on scene, getting information and securing it everywhere so that we can get traffic flowing, waiting on highway patrol. 47 alarms, 47 assist other agencies. That's where we go out and we help with Crocker, Dixon, St. Robert, Waynesville, highway patrol if they call us and need some backup. 98 checks of well-being. 13 DFS calls, 79 disturbance calls, and that's down a couple from last month. But those disturbance calls, that's our deputies going out there for domestic disturbance between husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the disturbance is, and quashing the situation before it gets worse. So there are some arrests made, and I don't have arrest totals. But there are arrests made on some of those. 98 checks of well-being. That's when you call us up and say, I haven't heard from my mom in 3 months. And well, that's a little time. That's a little long for not talking to your mom. But I haven't talked to my mom in 3 days and she ain't answering her phone. Can somebody go by the house and check on her? We go by the house and we check the house. We check for whoever the check of well-being's on. It could be your kids. Whatever the situation is, we go out there, we check and we verify, and we call back and say, hey, everything's good to go, everything's safe, and make contact. So we can call back mom, or hey, you call your daughter, she's worried about you, she sent us out here. So that way we can get a telephonic communication going between the parties. 21 extra patrols, that's us going out, and they call the sheriff's office, which is going to be a great feature in the app. Now you call the dispatch, but in the app, you can sign up on the app, and you can tell us when you're going to be gone. Only we know. And then our patrols get an alert, and we go out to check your house. And it tells us who's allowed to be on your property, if you got somebody coming over to check on it, what vehicles should be at the house outside, if you have any damage to the house, so we know that we're not walking around and we see a broken window, that window was already broken, things of that nature. So it's pretty in-depth summary of what we'll get. But it'll be a great feature for you because when it comes our dispatch, and then it gets put on our extra patrol wall, so we know where to check, and then we can submit right there in our app that we've checked it. So you can look on your app and say, when was my house checked? So I mean, it's a great tool, great feature that we're going to have for you. 21 fire calls. You know, we had a lot of fires this month. 26 harassment calls. 91 information and logging information calls that you call, and you don't need a patrol, but you want to let us know this information. It could be a tip, it could be something. You don't need a patrol. When we take those, if we get tips, we divide it up. We give it to whatever deputy or detective or narcotics, and then they decide what to do with that information. 21 jail calls. We do get called to the jail quite a bit because there's only 3 people working down there. And if somebody's out of control, somebody needs extra help, extra attention, then the deputies come in and they assist putting them in a restraint chair or calming them down, whatever the case may be. Paper service, we do a lot of paper service. We had 39. We did have 1 rape. 7 shots fired, 56 suspicious activity in vehicles, 23 thefts, 115 traffic stops, 16 unconscious unresponsive, 18 trespassing, and 24 warrants that we picked up across the county for the month, for a total of 1,092. I didn't go over all of them, obviously, but that's a lot. So you can see the pace. Breaking it down, we lost 1 detective. We lost, 1 deputy. This deputy was selected for the governor's task force for the warrant team. So that brings us down to 10 deputies right now and 2 detectives. 10 deputies and 2 detectives. And you break that down, that's, if it was in a perfect world, each of those deputies and detectives would have had 99 calls per. That's not the case, but breaking it down, just giving simple math, the they're out there hopping and popping. Trust me, when I say that they're out there moving, burning gas and, you know, rubbing or burning rubber. So the domestic disturbances they're mainly about the same, but the way that Chief kind of pointed me in the direction last month was people are calling us now. That's a big thing. That's a huge deal. I want you to be able to trust us that when you call us, you're going to get a deputy. I want you to be able to call us and trust us that when we come out there, we're going to handle the situation. It may not be the way you like, depending on the situation. You call us out there for domestic, and the husband's the one with all the the broken nose and the scratches and stuff like that. I mean, that might end up, it's the deputy's discretion what he sees on that stop, or I'm sorry, at that incident. So I don't say that to scare. I'm just saying that you call us. There's a reason why you call us, and we will show up and we will handle the situation. And trust that my deputies are going to handle it in the most professional and best manner possible, so that there's least disturbance to you and your family. What we're working on, we're still working in enhancing interagency operations with Waynesville, St. Robert, Richland, Dixon. Some Richland officers now have Pulaski commissions. Dixon officers soon is going to have some Pulaski commissions. Waynesville is going to also have some Pulaski commissions. So that way, the mutual aid and things with us working together will be more smooth. We don't have to worry about a piece of paper telling what can and can't do. If we need assistance in the county, or they got something going on in the county and they say, hey, we're going out in the county, we're gonna check this out because it's one of their cases, then they do that. Training together is huge for me and Chief. I'm sorry, this is Chief Larson, my chief deputy. If you don't know him, I'm sure everybody here does. But that's huge. That's something big that we wanted to bring into the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, because it's not been there in quite some time. So we've had a training event that across all agencies for our SRT training, special reaction training. We got another one coming up where we're going to go around to all the schools, train at the schools, kind of learn the schools a little bit. There's no way we're going to learn every one of them, but we can learn the gist of some of the particulars of the schools, and train together, learn how each other works, learn how each other shoot moves and communicates. Learning that I'm in the sheriff's office and they're in the St. Robert Police Department, and we're moving together and communicating together, so we're not fearful of that factor. So that's a big thing, because if God forbid something should happen at one of our schools, it's going to be all hands on deck, and everybody's going to be going there, try to get there as fast as they can. And it's not going to be all Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. It's going to be a deputy. It's going to be a St. Robert, a Waynesville cop, all going together. So we need to learn each other and cooperate and learn how to each other acts. So some of the things that we're proud of. I mean, we had a murder Saturday. We pretty much had it figured out to what we thought was correct after about 5 hours. I want to say 3, but we had it figured out. And we had a bolo out on an individual, Colin Marr, and we ended up apprehending him up in Richland at the hotel. So we also had the help of Dixon Police Department in Illinois with their SWAT team and Illinois Highway Patrol SWAT team, following a lead that because apparently he was there at one time. So that police department in Dixon PD of all places, but in Illinois with the Highway Patrol, and they did more than what I could have ever hoped for, and help us track him down. So just because they hit the house and didn't find him, they worked some other measures to be able for us to locate him back here in Pulaski County. He was apprehended and he's now in our jail. Our task force, our drug task force, continues to work this county. We also have been able to work with Mid-Missouri Drug Task Force on a few things, and we're going to get some more of that collaboration with Mid-Missouri Drug Task Force because it's better that the task force work together over the common goal because these drugs aren't just in Pulaski County. They're coming here, they're going there. They're coming from there and they're coming here. So that was a big thing too. Instead of the drug task force claiming their area, well, I don't want that in a drug task force. I want the drug task force to work together. Pulaski County it belongs to one drug task force. However, we cross lines and we help each other out. And that's been going very smooth, which in the past, it's, people get bent out of shape when you cross the battle line. I don't want that. We're all working towards the same goal. We don't care who gets the drugs. We want somebody to get the drugs. We don't care about the credit. We want the drugs because that's what's killing our people. Community outreach. We've worked on adding a CRO, community resource officer / DARE officer for all of the surrounding schools minus Waynesville because they have their own, but for Dixon, Crocker, Richland, Sweetborg, and Lakeway, we're going to have a DARE officer trained, and that's his job is to go around to the schools and talk to the kids, present the DARE presentations to the kids, and come to the community functions, the railroad days, the Crocker or the Dixon Cal days, Richland, their fair, things like that, where you're going to see the CRO, and you will know he's a CRO because he's going in a badass car. We've managed to get a donation of a 2016 Chevy Camaro. We've got the wrap. We got a good discount on the wrap. We had to get a new engine for it, but that's okay. We had the money in our budget to get that, and that came out of that was thanks to the opioid committee that allowed us to purchase this and get our DARE officer out there talking to the kids and educating them young. Getting out there and talking to the parents, talking to the community about what's going on in their area. The CRO will also help us out with getting our neighborhood watches started in areas, and also as soon as things relax a little bit, me and Rex can get working on our Citizens Academy, and we also want to have a junior deputy academy for the kids 14 to 20. I'm sorry, yeah, 14 to 20. So I know those are some of the things that we both talked about in our campaigns, and we want to bring that to fruition. But we got to get this sheriff's department rolling. 3 months in is not enough time to make sure that all our I's are dotted and T's are crossed. So that's some of the things that we're going to be working on. But I'm pretty proud of the fact that we've been able to land this another deputy to focus on the kids. That's his whole job. He's not responding. But you'll definitely know the CRO or the DARE officer when you see him. I can't wait to see the pictures of that car when it comes out. But it's going to be good for the community, and especially good for these smaller schools that don't have the luxury that Waynesville has. The schools are hurting. Bottom line, I mean, they don't get nowhere near the money. So we're going to focus on those schools and let Waynesville's DARE focus on Waynesville schools. You want to talk about Trotter?
Yeah, sure. I don't know what you got right now.
Well, it's just pretty much what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure many of you have seen on social media the Crocker. We are now taking over. We signed a contract with the city of Crocker to take over their police. We'll be policing their cities, and essentially what it amounted to was it's a benefit for both sides. They benefit in the fact of they'll now have 24/7 coverage because we worked 3 deputies out of this, and in the picture. We got those 3 deputies. They'll be assigned essentially to basically what I'll refer to as the Crocker district. That officer or deputy will be assigned to the district. They'll patrol the city streets when they receive a call. If you think of it, you can kind of think of it like how the ambulance districts do. They kind of stay within the school districts of those cities. So basically, that officer will be assigned, or that deputy will be assigned to that school district area, we'll call it, whether it's Crocker City or Crocker County. They can respond out to those calls, but they'll spend the majority of their time in the city limits of Crocker, patrolling those areas, doing essentially the same thing that the city officer's doing their checks for businesses, doing their extra checks. Anybody calls in for their vacation homes. The only difference now is all of their stuff comes through the sheriff's office. They call in when we get the app rolling. They'll be able to call in for. We're actually calling. I think we're calling it vacation list or whatever. But essentially, if you're going out of town, you tell us and we go check your house for you, like Sheriff said earlier. So they'll still be doing those areas, but like I said, the biggest part of it is for literally for the city and the community of Crocker is they'll have an officer there 24/7. So your response times will be cut down. Your officer presence is obviously more prevalent, and they'll be seen more. They'll be, like I said, just driving around doing their normal checks. But in that sense, also, it's a benefit not only to the townspeople, but the people that are out in the county. Because now that officer, that deputy is right there in Crocker, so he gets a call. Say if he gets a call from Crocker down DD, or now he's going to respond down to DD. He's going to answer the call, go down there. If he has to leave, he or she has to leave to say they arrested somebody out there on DD. They got to bring him down here to the jail. We just switch out. The other deputy goes up, takes that until this deputy can get clear. That deputy goes back to Crocker and does his patrol area. Now, those deputies will not be the same all the time. So it won't, say it's Deputy A today, it'll be Deputy B tomorrow, Deputy C the next day, and they just change out. That does a couple different things. It keeps the deputies from getting, too, comfortable, or, say they get burned out on just working Crocker and they want to move around a little bit more. It just keeps them moving in and out. If they get it, busy, there's busy times or whatever that we have deputies that are there, that kind of helps move them out on the next one. So they're not constantly getting 3 days of getting, 20 calls a day. I'm not saying they get 20 calls, but you get the gist of what I mean. So that's a big benefit to us and to the city there. There's just that's just a few things that I think will be done. Plus they get the added benefits of our detective unit, of our canine units, because we have 2 canine units now. So those officers will be available to them whenever that they need. We don't have to go through different red tape. And the sheriff said earlier, we don't have to worry about, a piece of paper telling us, where we can go and what we need to do. We're only limited by city limits. We're no longer limited by that. And again, I think the biggest thing that we look at through this is the 2 biggest things is Crocker's getting 24/7 coverage, and our response times to those areas, to that Crocker area, is going to be, cut in half, let's say. And in some instances, it'll be even quicker than that. And, some people may ask, well, why is Crocker, why do they pay for it, in essence, and why do we go for this? For us, it's a double benefit in the fact of that if Crocker can give us contractually money to do their police work, it helps us out because technically if Crocker just said, nope, we're done, we're responsible for it. It's still within the county. So I'm glad that they agreed to this. I'm glad that, that this was something that we could get together on and actually end up making a deal out of this. And I don't think that there was any doubts that, I don't think they were too uncomfortable with it. And really, from what I've seen, the citizens weren't, uncomfortable with it once it was explained. We had the forum, was it the 27th of last month? Everybody could come in and they could ask questions on that. And I think once we ended up after the forum, everybody came in there kind of apprehensive about a few things. I shouldn't say everybody. A few people came in apprehensive about some things. And after they left, I think it was all pretty well settled that they agreed this was the best course of action. Crocker at the time at the time of that forum, they only had 1 officer working. And obviously, that officer can't work 24/7. So it's better off for them. But again, I stress this is not anything that's going to be any extra tax to the county now. Crocker helped us out with that, and all in all, it actually kind of helped them because they did end up saving some money in the long run out of stuff. We will have a substation in Crocker so that the deputies, if they need to perform, anything on a computer, if they need to do interviews, if they need to work on reports, that's there available to them. But they will be patrolling constantly up there. We already now have two of our deputies that work the crosswalk up there morning and evening for the school kids when they get out. So I believe the citizens are really liking that aspect of it. Plus, it gets visible for us, and it's not only going to be someone driving around a car that you'll never see or that they will never see. This person is going to get out. They're going to walk on the square, walk in front of the businesses, talking to people, visiting, getting community policing. The sheriff has said before that it's been kind of hard for the sheriff's office to community police as far as us getting out and talking to people because of the down number of deputies that we have. And what I mean by that is low, that we only have, two on at certain times or just three on. But now with them doing the city, they can actually get out in a car and they can be more personable with people, get out and talk with business owners, get out when they have the festivals, Crocker's, the railroad days, they'll be able to get out and talk with people there, be seen there. They'll be wearing a sheriff's office uniform. They'll be in a sheriff's department marked car. We did receive the vehicles from Crocker. So if anyone actually knew what the Crocker officers were driving up there, they'll now be restriped for the sheriff's office. They'll have our badging on the side of it, our lettering, and it will have our deputies in those vehicles. With this acquisition, say that correctly, with this agreement, we did, like I said, receive 3 deputies out of this. So that will add to our workforce and help us in the long run. Like I said, it benefited both sides. We get more deputies, they get 24-hour coverage, better response time for everybody.
All right, some improvements. When we went to the sheriff's conference in December, the new sheriff's conference, we found this place, the My Sheriff app, what I've been talking about, and I've put Facebook posts out about. If you want to see it, what we're getting, if you went into your app store and you downloaded Phelps County Sheriff's app, you would be able to see pretty much what we're getting, except for there's a couple, like we've added the schools. All the schools to our app, so if the parents with kids in schools, they can hit the schools button, and it'll come up with all the Pulaski County schools and the SROs, phone numbers for them, for the parents to call if they got an issue. They can also submit a tip on that school app. They can also submit a tip on the other apps as well for warrants, and for just on the first screen, there's a submit a tip button where they can just submit a tip right then and there. But we're going to put out our high value warrants that we're looking for. There's too many in the Dagon County. If you looked at my dispatch in there, we got like 6 drawers full of warrants. I don't even know if I can count that high. There's a lot of Dagon warrants in this county, and we need to start finding them. Unfortunately, I'm losing my best nose at over 1,000 arrests, and I guarantee 80-90% of them have been warrants. But he's going to the highway patrol, like I said, and he's going to still work Troop I, do great things for us. He's still assigned to me, or I'm still in the department or a sheriff's office, but assigned to the task force. So he's still going to be working the county, but I'm going to have the deputies out there looking for these warrants as well. And you'll be able to see who's in a jail. You'll be able to submit damage reports. If your home's damaged in a storm, flood, whatever, you can submit a damage report, and we've got it where it goes to Hector, our emergency manager director, and it also goes to Road and Bridge. So that way Hector can track it, and then Road and Bridge will have that as well. So it's a nice tracking mechanism. You can also submit photos and things like that. So once you get your hands on the app, play around with it, just don't submit a bunch of tips, please, unless they're like valid, but just see if they work, because it will work. And you'll see our calls that we're doing every day. So it's going to be a great feature, great enhancement to the community, and allow you more onus on submitting those tips and submitting that information that we're looking for. Jail operations. I've been in office now for 3 months, and the jail is not where I want it to be, and I think Chief can back me up on that. But the jail is a jail. It's not a daggone. It's not a hotel, and we're not friends. They're detainees. They're in that jail for a reason. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. But they're in that jail for a reason, and they need to conform to our rules. They need to conform to our discipline. So we've implemented a few changes with personnel and the way things are happening down there to where that discipline is being restored from how they eat to when we tell them when they go on their recreation breaks. They don't abuse the buzzer. They're not going to sit there and abuse the buzzer. They're going to sit there and kick their daggone cells. We got a laundry list of things that we've implemented to change down in the jail. The handbook has been redone and updated. The jail SOP has been redone and updated. Also, the road SOP has been done and re-updated, and the FTO for the road has been updated. So all those things are in place now. I just got them done. It's been a nightmare. I mean, it's 170 pages on one document, 360 pages on another document, and you're going through making sure case law's in there, finding case law that pertains to whatever. It takes a lot of daggone time, but it's done. And there's still things that I probably missed, but now they're being implemented. So those changes are being made. So there's no more hotel Pulaski County. This is the Pulaski County Detention Facility, and the detention officers down there are going to uphold the standards. They're going to uphold the discipline. And if they can't, then obviously they got to go. We're not playing with this, because down in the jail, that's our biggest lawsuit waiting to happen right there. But with that said, we've managed to get a good team together. Some good workers that are coming in. We got a couple of high-speed females down there that are holding their own, which is great. So it's been a work in progress, just like getting the right people for the road, getting the right people around you, getting that right team. It's always going to be a battle for Pulaski County because we don't have the money like some of these other counties. But what we can offer is good leadership, compassionate leadership, training, people and working in a job where you want to come to work every day. So, I mean, we got to make up for something, and the benefits just aren't there. I got it. But the people that come to work here, they come here because they want to work here. And that means a lot, especially when you put them down in the jail and you ask me, how was your first couple of days? He's like, man, I feel like I got a purpose now, Sheriff. I mean, I was like, nah, it went all right. It's okay. I feel like I have a purpose, which is great. So that's the kind of people that we're looking for, and we're constantly looking. So we're never going to be full staff. I mean, I'm moving a couple of jailer out of the jail to come into the road. So I have another open position. So if you have people out there that are looking for a job, looking to work somewhere, they can always apply for the job, and pretty soon on the app, you'll be able to do it right there on the app too. So another great feature. We talked about community policing engagement. Again, that's going to be a lot with the sheriff's office isn't designed for community policing. Community policing is a big word. I mean, it means a big deal. The sheriff's office, I have 520 plus square miles of county versus a police department that has 100 square miles, or not even that, maybe 80 square miles. It's very easy for a city police department to be able to negotiate that and have the same officers maybe work the same beat, the same area and things like that, and do the true community policing. So the community policing that we're is us being able to, and like I said, they get out, they go somewhere and they get out of their vehicle and they walk around, they go to the coffee shop, they talk to folks in there, they go to some of the businesses and just say hello. They don't have to spend a whole lot of time. Hey, everything going all right? Anything, you secure here? Any issues with any people stealing or anything? So and then they get back in their car, they take notes if they have to, and then they get back and they go on to, and go on the way. Crocker will be a little bit different for us because that officer will be, like Chief said, in the city of Crocker for the most part. And we want him to walk around. I'm not dictating how he's going to, I call it sucking the egg. They can figure that out. I'm giving them free reign to figure how they want to work that, the city of Crocker, and then respond when you have to. Some ongoing challenges. Recruitment and retention. Retention hasn't really been a huge problem for us, thank God. But the recruitment, we've had a couple where they've hired on to be a jailer, and they go down to the jail, and what 20? Well, I just got a message today. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, and the dude ain't even started yet. Whatever. It's not an easy job. That job absolutely is. It can be horrendous. You are moving. You're in harm's way 99% more than what the deputies are out on the road dealing with some of these people down here. And there are some big people down there, and a couple people down there with nothing to lose either. So we got to be careful. So that's always going to be a problem. I got it. There's other things out there, but like I said, I want people that want to work here because they like the atmosphere. They like coming to work. They enjoy their job, and we're going to make it fun. And we're going to make the job something. There's a lot of potential to move up in the sheriff's office. So the rural coverage gap, again, 500 square miles. We may not be able to get there right when you call, but believe me, we're going to be out there when you call at some point in time. And getting the dispatchers to call you and let you know if there's a time difference. Hey, my deputy's tied up. He'll be out there and I'll give you a call when he's on his way out. 20 minutes later, the dispatch calls, say, hey, my deputy's on his way out, and let you know. Or deputy's still tied up, whatever. The biggest thing is communication. That's the main thing. Communication. Instead of calling for a deputy and waiting at 10 o'clock and 3 in the morning, you're still up waiting for a deputy and they're not coming. And then you go to sleep and then you're late for work because you overslept. So that's been huge on me and Chief as well to institute that communication piece to get our dispatchers to talk and call folks and let them know the updates and things like that. Mental health related calls. 75% of my jail is mental illness. It's a drain on the budget with mental illness too, because we get some free resources from ComC. We get some resource, but when it comes to meds and things like that, certain meds, if it's over a certain amount, because when they come to the jail, there's no Medicaid or Medicare. It's cut off. They're incarcerated. We will soon we got a grant to have a reintegration specialist come into our jail, which should happen anytime soon. But that reintegration specialist, once that inmate hits 90 days out, getting out, they will help them get back on Medicaid and Medicare. They will help them follow up with their drug counseling or drug rehab and things like that to help that person get out, or once they get out. With MOCA? We were going to try out MOCA, where then when people get out of jail, especially for drug rehab and things like that, when they get out of jail, instead of sitting here like, what am I going to do now? We can call MOCA. They'll send a volunteer driver to pick them up, take them home, take them where they're supposed to go. And then that person can also drive them, and this is all free, paid for by opioid committee, to their drug rehab, to their doctor's appointments, not to John's house to buy more dope, but they'll take them to their official visits for the doctors and counseling and things like that. So that will be a great resource, and we're going to see how that works. But if that does go well, that will be a huge benefit for some of our incarcerated folks that need that help. They need them, they rehab, but they get out, they have nowhere to go. They call John up and John comes to pick them up. And then him and John or her and John are sitting there hitting the meth pipe an hour after they get out. That's what we're trying to prevent. So, but the mental health, it's over a year to get somebody mental health into a mental health hospital. Takes over a year to get them out of here. My detention officers aren't mental health specialists. We're not trained in the mental health field, but for so long, we've arrested the problem, and we haven't had the resources to fix it, and we still don't. So we're still arresting the problem, and we're coming to the jail. We're putting them in a 7x7 cell and saying, "Hey, calm down, chill out." When the one person the other day just kept singing suicide, wanting to kill herself. Give me my fork so I can stab myself in the throat. And what are you supposed to? How are we? My jailers, I mean, God bless them. Like I said, it's a hard job. But that's some of the things that we deal with down there in the jail on a daily basis. And there's some days that are better than others. But for the most part, I mean, they're doing the best that they can with and in COMC has been a huge help for us, especially for my deputies that are out there. They'll call if they got a mental ill patient, they can call COMC, and we've had a couple where we've been able to 96 with the help of COMC instead of coming down here to the jail. Because a lot of times when they're coming down with their 96, I'm trying to call the prosecutor, trying to get an OR bond right now. Hey, can you defer hey, can you just let them out? I mean, because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen if we don't have the meds, if we don't get the right resources down there to them, and they end up dying down there from whatever illness they have. Sheriff's Department, that's sheriff's office sued. So trying to get them to the mental hospital has been a hard one to do in a timely manner. We have some down there that have been in our jail for like over 2 years waiting on a mental health hospital. We have inmates down in the jail been over here over 2 years waiting on their jail sentence, their prison sentence. We don't get paid for every inmate that's down there. We only get paid when that inmate gets incarcerated and goes to prison. So out of the 80, 70 some inmates I got down here, if they get probation, walk out of the jail, our sheriff's office gets no money for that. No money for housing, no money for anything. We only get money from DOC once those inmates leave our facility and go to prison. So that's an uphill climb. That's a budget drain too, but we're making the most of our budget that we can. We're going to make it work. I mean, it's worked in the past. It's going to continue to work, but as far as doing some of the great things we want, I mean, it's bottom. We're focusing on taking care of the inmates and making sure that they're cared for properly in a humane way, so that we can hopefully get them to DOC or get them out of our daggone jail and hopefully never see them again. But we usually see them. So with that said, the upgrades. We just received 20 new AR-15s for our deputies that replaced some very old AR-15s that we had. Some of them were broken, but we've managed to get 20 new AR-15s, and that's going to be through giving our AR-15s to Black Rain. They're going to sign for our old ones, and we're going to use some of the weapons in our instead of selling them online, we're gonna give them to Black Rain. They're gonna hand receipt them because they're able to through the ATF to resell them and repurpose those weapons. So they're not just going to anybody. They will still have to file the FFL form and things like that online because they're going through Black Rain instead of selling it at an auction. And then, well, I think they go to Bow and Barrel, but still. All the legalities are off the sheriff's office once them guns are in Black Rain's hands, and Black Rain will follow the ATF standards to when they sell them weapons. So that's a big deal too. We don't want the weapons getting out to somebody they're not supposed to. Dodge Durangos, they should be in yesterday. Hey, Chief worked a hell of a deal. I'm just gonna tell you now. He worked a hell of a deal for these Durangos. 8 brand new Durangos, lighted to the T. Brand new computers that 26-inch monitor screens that touchscreen, I think too. It's like it's about $2,500 computer that he worked a deal, and those computers they're giving us those for free for those cars, but they're all synced with the body cams and the dash cams, which the dash cams are going to be a great tool because we don't have them in our other vehicles. So that's going to be a great thing. So we're getting rid of our junk. Oh, Todd's not watching, but we're getting rid of our junk. Todd's going to repurpose all that stuff, and then we're going to keep some of our vehicles, but we're getting 8 brand new vehicles plus the vehicles that we got from Crocker. So all of our deputies, we just won't have any spare vehicles except for the long air vehicles that are out there that are still running strong. They're still running good. We take care of them, and that's the main thing to keep them running. So other than that, you have anything to add?
I do just want to add, we did manage to, through the opioid committee, we got a canine vehicle for our canine officers. So we got a brand new Tahoe coming, fully outfitted. Also, all the bells and whistles, integrated body cam, the dash cams, everything. So it will be 4-wheel drive. And I do stress that all these vehicles are police vehicles. They're not just, farm trucks that we put lights on and stuff like that. These are actual police purpose vehicles.
They got some giddy up.
Yeah. But they have all of the suspension, all the, engine upgrades, the brake upgrades, the wheel upgrades, everything is all pursuit rated and police ready for these. So each of the canine cage that goes in has all what they call a heat alert to where the temperature inside the vehicle gets too hot, it'll roll the windows down. Some of them are, and I'm not sure exactly on this one yet because I haven't got all the paperwork on it, whether or not it kicks some fans on or different things like that. So, but all for protection of that canine. So we're not making sure we're not having a hot vehicle or anything like that. So, but I did want to mention that. And
Apex 7.
what's that?
Apex 7 drug test.
Oh, yes. So we also did get a new drug test tool, and it's a laser tester. Is the best way that I can explain it. But it's a huge deal not only for us to be able to test these drugs out on the street, but it's also an officer safety thing. So essentially, what would happen before? Take the speaker for instance here. Say if I found some a white substance in a bag like this here. All right, I would have to manage to be able to keep myself safe, get the stuff out of this package to test it with a tester. With this new tester that we're getting, you'll be able to take it and actually sit on the outside of the bag. You'll never actually have to touch the substance, and it will test the substance in that bag. So, and it tests, I can't remember how many.
It's like 200,000 subs because it also does. It can also do explosives as well.
Yes, if you have the right testers, the little cartridges for it, it will test for explosives
But
also.
it comes to the deputy's phone too. So the deputy can print that out and put it with his report.
It'll have, when you do that, it gives you your location, what you do it, the substance that it comes back, the picture of your test, your name, the report, all of it. I mean, it's all right there. It's all the science and everything is explained through it and everything. You just print it out, put it with the report. But it's a huge officer safety thing also because now we're not having to touch those drugs. Everybody knows, fentanyl. It takes a very minute, and it'll kill you. So if we're not having to touch anything, we can put that tester on there, and it's a huge officer safety for each of these deputies out here on the road.
So with that, we've put everything out that, we want you to know, but if there's anybody on the floor, I mean, the floor is open to you now for questions and, concerns, issues, things like that. So, yes, sir.
This is not buttering up the sheriff, but I really want to compliment you on the transparency that I've seen over the last 3 months. The information's gotten out there. And I think all the sheriff's candidates I talked about, because everybody knows my business is at the end of Benton Street. And ever since the sheriff detention center or jail or whatever you want to call it, has been existing here, I've watched sheriff's deputies blow Benton Street, North Street stop sign, run about 45 miles an hour to Highway 17 with 2 lanes of traffic. And I think I discussed it with almost, like I said, everybody. Ever since you have become sheriff, and I don't know if it was just your policy or if there was a conscientiousness, I haven't seen that since. And I want to compliment your deputies on that because it has scared me to death because I've actually seen 2 lanes of traffic, somebody turning in and a deputy running 45 miles an hour to 17. And I'm thinking, oh, this is a disaster getting ready to happen. But I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Yes, sir.
Hey, Sheriff, I also want to commend the emergency management director for the county. The relationship, that's one of the things, I don't know what you guys have been doing, but the relationship between the sheriff department and emergency management has been on point. I mean, ever since you came in, you've been making, it makes our lives a little bit much easier when we have boots on the ground trying to provide us information for us to be able to do our job, especially when it comes to the road closures, dangerous situations, places that, I mean, usually you don't see your officers and yourself there, but you are there. It makes us know that the love and the commitment that you have for this community goes beyond this place. And it goes into our department. And we really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'd kind of add to what Hector was explaining or talking about there is with the road closures. The big thing was we first started it during the ice storm because we were in office a week and a half.
An hour.
Yeah, an hour. So we came up with a plan to be able to. One of the biggest things that Hector stated the last time that they'd had anything like this was the fact that they could not keep the road closures straight. So one place would report, they'd have a certain list, another place would report and have another list, so on and so forth. So we came up with a plan, and actually it was as simple as a Google Doc. We created a live Google document, and when the sheriff's office put in a road closure, it went straight into the document so Hector could see it, 911 could see it, and anybody else that was on that list that it got shared to could see it. So it was just as simple as creating that document there, but if we didn't have that relationship flow and have that discussion before it happened, we wouldn't have had that communication. But that's what he's, essentially one of the things he's referring to. And we used it on the tornado. We used it, and we're going to continue to use it throughout, if we have these floods or anything that may possibly happen, Lord willing, it won't. But if it does, we'll be able to communicate through that and keep everybody on point. That way we're not having somebody thinking a road is open and it's not.
Speaking of probably using that Google document again coming up, do you want to say anything about the floods or about the rain or anything? Or
So it's what can I say? It's in the 50-50, right? So right now we're expecting between 2 to 4 inches of rain in the next few days, especially moving into tomorrow to Saturday. That doesn't seem a lot, all right? So now you can look at if you have the ability to go to that watered up weather, it's our NOAA app. It can show you the gauges. Our river shows that the forecasts are going to be at a moderate stage. That means that it's still not a major flood, but it's still water over roads. But that's just taken into consideration the 2 to 4 inches. And also, the big impact is as our rivers flow, south to north, the main heavy rainfall is going to happen down south. That's what we're looking at. What the National Weather Service has been calling it is, they're saying that we have high probabilities of having what you call your 100-year flood. You're looking at a good possibility between 7 to 10 inches of rain down south. The major impact areas would be north Arkansas, which a lot of those rivers will start flowing up our way, especially hitting the gas canyon. We are currently, like you are so doing, currently monitoring those roads, monitoring the weather, monitoring those gauges. So as of now, moderate chances of flooding. But the problem with the moderate chance of flooding is all it takes is that 26 foot for the gasconade to go over the cave road. So what we implore our citizens is, turn around, don't drown. I know it sounds, but it makes a big difference. If you see those roads that are closed, if you see those tapes, I mean, our sheriff department, border bridge crew, they go out there and they put the barricade, they put the tape. I know it looks easy to go over. Take into consideration that just a small amount of water in that crossing can push you away. And that's it. And as we all know, last November, we had to, and we don't want to have any. So as of now, it's a moderate chance, but with the heavy rainfall, there's a good chance that we may see what they call the 100-year flood. So, thank you, Sheriff.
Can I make one more comment? And it's just, and it's always good to change people, but Hector, I want to give you a compliment because I have seen more information produced about emergency management and things going on than I have in the 50 years I've lived here. And that's a compliment to you at keeping that information flowing. And I, as a citizen, feel so much safer. You may think this is silly and cliches, but I feel much safer knowing that folks like you are there. Because it's important. Before I used to watch Randy Brown's little forecast when he talked about the Ruby-Doo, and that was about all we got. Now there's so much info. I'm like info overload. But it's good to know that. So, and Rex, you're part of that too.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to make a comment. I apologize. We were supposed to have two translators for Hector tonight.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Sheriff, what can your rural fire departments do other than see something, say something to assist the sheriff's department?
Like you are, we're usually assisting you. You know, if I could say anything, I would probably say, once we get some type of training going for the schools, even prior to that, but we need to train with the fire department too. We need to train with the ambulance district. We need to train with the paramedics. We need to train with everybody that we may can't come in contact with for, God forbid, a mass shooting and things like that, because the area's got to be. We don't want to take nobody into an area. We don't want to take anybody to an uncleared area to triage and treat casualties and get them in and out. But there may be some times that there might be a hot area we just have to go into and escort our paramedics and our firefighters and stuff into, because just the situation is going to dictate. But other than being able to train together and get that cohesion going with the fire departments too, and coming up with some type of work, we're working on some type of, we're working on a tabletop, but we're also working on an actual mass shooting exercise so that we can get agencies involved. But God forbid something happens now, we are going to look like a football bet. That's all there is to it, especially at the high school. One way in, one way out. Parents want to go get their kids. It is going to be chaos. That's all there is to it. And the same would go to pretty much any other school that we would have to respond to. To know where we're going to put the fire department, but how are we going to get the fire department out there, especially if GW Lane is bumper to bumper traffic with people coming in and out? How are we going to get the firefighters there? How are we going to get the ambulance? How are we going to get our own people there that are coming there to try and save their kids with everybody running out of the school running at you? I mean, it's the plan. Everybody's got a plan till you get hit in the mouth. That Mike Tyson said that. So the plan is never going to be perfect, but at least we're going to have a plan. And that's what we're going to go off of. And we can always tweak it. We can always, do something. But if we don't have a plan established, and that's the bad thing. So until we get a plan established and we can establish it with other places, around this county, then we're going to be, it's just mass chaos. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's just the way it's going to be. So training. But again, it's getting deputies in here, getting firefighters in here that, maybe on their downtime or whatever to do that training. And that's going to be the biggest goal that's going to be the biggest issue, as we move along in this journey. But we got to have a plan, and training is a huge part of that.
I'd like to add to it. Some of the things that you guys can do is just be willing to come to sit at the table. For so long, I think, especially when we were out on the campaign trail, it was other departments didn't want to work with the sheriff's office, or you would hear that they didn't think that it was easy to, or they didn't like the way the sheriff's office operated or anything else like that. So the biggest thing that I want to say is that, there's a new sheriff in town, and we want to work with everybody. And our main goal, the sheriff's main goal, is to make sure that Pulaski County as a whole has cooperation from every department and has every citizen's safety in mind. Make his living as comfortable as it possibly can be. So I would say to anybody would be have a willingness to come sit at the table with us. We're changing things up, we're shaking things up, and we want to make it great again. Yeah.
I know you did.
See what you did there? Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's the biggest thing is spread to your guys. Hey, look, this is a completely different department. It's we're under new management and we're running things differently, and we're really going to kick it into gear. And I really think that you're going to see a big change. I hope that you see a change. Tim's mentioned some things about our information getting out and these information overload. I'm sorry, Tim, but it's not going to stop anytime soon.
No.
But that's the thing. Just be willing to work with us. We're different now, and I want to see everybody come to that table and give us the opportunity to work with us. I know everybody that's standing in the back here. Our deputies that are in the back. This is Sergeant Lorenzo, Sergeant Cooner, and our K-9 officer Humphrey back here. All of these guys want to work with everybody. They want to get out. They want to do everything possible to keep this county safe. I know personally, Cooner and Humphrey, they actually are active working on the road. Sergeant Lorenzo here is in charge of our training. The sheriff talked about earlier about all the training that we want to do. Sergeant Lorenzo's job is to make sure that who can train what, who can do what here. And his job is to bring more of that on hand, training here. We're not just setting the deputy behind a computer anymore, saying, hey, look, watch this 20-minute video and take a test. All right. We want real world stuff. We want hands-on things, our defensive tactics, our firearms. Sergeant Cooner's been working with him on that stuff, getting all of those things together and just making our deputies better. We owe that to them, and we owe that to you to make sure that each one of these officers, and not just the road guys, the jailers downstairs, the correction officers, we owe it to them just as we owe it to all of you to have all of them trained to where they can do their job the best that they possibly can. We owe it to them. That's the bottom line. It's the only thing that I can say to that. So just know that we want to work with everybody, and we're including everybody we possibly can.
Yes, ma'am.
I think those of us who are citizens in this room, the next time you have the community forum, we should all reach out to 2 or 3 or 4 neighbors, friends we know in the county and get them to come. Because I know myself, as you guys know, with my volunteer work in San Antonio, that I came up here and it's like, no one cared. That's why I didn't get involved. Yeah, we can all participate, invite our friends, neighbors to come, and word of mouth is huge.
Yeah.
I got one more comment and I'll try to shut up. And I just got here, sitting here thinking, can I have this officer step up here? No, it's actually good. I don't know, as a civilian, I don't know what you personally have to pay for in all that operation that you got on there. And I don't know what the sheriff's department pays for.
Oh, this
I paid for everything. I paid for everything.
But
Sheriff said he paid for it.
what can we do as citizens? Whether it's a $20 donation, $100 donation, or a fundraiser to do to help officers be supplied with some of this stuff.
Okay, that's the money that I get for training and the money I get for equipment has to be made from downstairs. From what I get from what I get from civil fees, what I get for delivering papers, what I get for whatever extra that I do. Right now, our account is negative because I haven't raised enough money yet as far as because every time I put deposit money in, it's sucked up by bills. So we do take donations. Donations can, if you don't want to go to the sheriff's, or if you don't want to bring it to the sheriff's office, you can take your donation to the treasurer, Mac Wilkerson. And the only thing you got to do is on the memo part of the check, because he won't take cash, but on the check, you put sheriff's department or sheriff's office training or sheriff's office equipment, and he will put it in one of those 2 lines. We have managed so far to get $1,500 donation so far, and the calendars that we do, I got some calendars back there. They make donations to us every year, and they tell us after they make the calendar and bring them in, they tell us where they want the money to go to. And this year I told them training. Next year it might be equipment, but either one, the donations is really the biggest way that we get into the surplus as far as our funds, because like I said, as soon as I take civil fees up there, it's eaten up by the phone bill. It's a $4,000 phone bill. Jail, I got a $10,000 electric or utilities payment every month. I make $10,000 on the inmates downstairs. Well, I say make. I don't. With the inmates buying their commissary and stuff like that, I make $10,000 a month for to turn into Mac to pay our. I'm sorry, turn into the clerk to pay our electric bill. On top of all the other lines that I have, so the money's drained. So yes, we do take donations. We welcome donations as long as on the check or money order it says Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office training, or I say department one more time. Sheriff's Office training or Sheriff's Office equipment, and Mac will put it into that line, and that would be, because if not, then Mac deposits it in general revenue, and then anybody can get it.
The biggest, and I don't know if you guys understand how much any of this stuff costs either. That's probably what you're getting at, Tim.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. So, if you're looking, Cooter, what pants do you have on?
LA Police Care.
So you're looking at his pants can be anywhere from 60 to $100 just for one pair of pants.
Those are LA Police Care, they're cheap.
Um, I guess you choked him up.
Can you walk, can you dentistry?
So, and then the shirts that they wear, they're not necessarily standard polos. Some of them do wear standard polos, but, we try to get the ones we'd like to have, I should say. We like to have the ones that are breathable underneath. They wear the exterior, vests. And then,
Cost 60.
yeah, they're close $60, 60, $70, depending on where you go with those. Now we are trying to do a little bit with cutting costs as far as our patches. You would not believe what it costs to have a patch sewn on. I mean, it's, you wouldn't just think that it does, and to create the patch. So, Sergeant Cooner is actually one of the ones that came up with it. And JD, you got one on yours?
Yes.
PVC patch?
The patch that he's got on there, see they rip off? Yeah, okay. And we can give, one of the deputies a set of those, or maybe two sets, and he can keep them on those shirts. They can rip them off. They can wash the shirt, put them back on. So we're not having to spend all that money to go in and have those sewn on. But you're still talking, a fair amount of money just to do that, just for those shirts. Like I said, they're 60, $70. The carrier that he's got, that one's actually one of the more high-speed carriers. So you're
It's still on budget friendly. It's still about $800 or $900.
yeah.
Most of the holsters we have are for an older generation pistols, and we don't want to carry, so they don't fit well. Those holsters, $180. The one I have on is even more expensive because it has a built-in tourniquet. So if I get shot in the leg, I can already give first aid to myself. That's $190.
Yeah, you're looking at
One of these things is like just the carrier, $30 to $40. We put police on there, it's expensive.
Yep.
So
I can, more information overload with me. And I know you guys are real busy, but what you need to do is actually take one of your officers and actually put it on Facebook. This is this, this is this. So most people see, I looked at him earlier and I was like, damn, there's a lot of dollars in there. But I didn't have a clue how many dollars it actually was.
I'm glad you came here.
And
So you got Humphrey back there too. Humphrey's
Yeah.
all decked up, and Humphrey bought his own uniforms.
well, that's what I'm saying. Is we as citizens, really need to help these officers out. I know they're making all these high dollars. I know, but the fact being is, if we can help.
Yeah. Most of your deputies here, in fact, I think, with the exception of maybe one or two things, they bought about everything that they've got on.
we don't have enough of an equipment budget at this point to issue pants, boots, duty belts, handcuffs, holsters.
Like Phelps County sends them up to a uniform shop, and they get tailor-made uniforms up there, boots and all their equipment right there. But when you have
Yeah.
millions of dollars.
Yeah, those funds we donate, now they get to the officers to help them purchase that stuff. That, I
They
guess,
will go to the equipment line, or they won't go to there's no specific lines for the deputies. It's an equipment line or a training line. If we're talking about equipment, it'd be Pulaski County Sheriff's Office equipment. And then that money would be in the equipment line of my budget.
Now,
And-
if somebody wanted to buy those items, you can donate the items. Like
Well, yes,
two
absolutely.
posters, then
Yep.
that could be different thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our reserves have to buy everything. We have no equipment for
We can do a department order and it costs less. So if we have that line where people donate, if we get enough, we can get more for the money than if you bought it yourself from
Well, yeah.
Amazon or whatever. So
Mhm.
just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we want.
So, yeah, it's thousands of dollars. Our vests, we got a new vest coming in that is going to be modeled by one of our deputies that we're looking at, but there are grants out there. Grants aren't open up for the vests yet. But all of our vests expire in 2025. So now I'm hunting for grants for the vests.
The radio, you get your radio. That radio that he's got there was about a $4,000 radio that he has there. So I mean, they're, not to mention, the mic and anything else that he has to carry. Plus, we have our tasers, we have our mace, and anything else. Yep.
This costs more than a gun,
Yep.
like $2,000.
So it's there's a lot of cost in it. He could very easily run close to 10 grand to outfit a deputy if he gave him about everything that he needed.
Well, Chief, you want to get tased?
No.
So yes, we take donations. If you want to do that, that's and out there in the Facebook world and Pulaski
Go back
Talks
there
world.
before he grabs it, does it?
But it says, as long as it says Sheriff's Office training or Sheriff's Office equipment, then it'll come to one of those two lines. And before I give you more questions, can we get I'm going to have our other dog handler, JD and Alex, raise your hand.
That's
You can-
pretty neat.
We have something planted in this room right now. So just to give you a little,
One question, what's the total outfit cost?
a what?
Dana Blainer, so what's the cost for an officer with complete setup? Rough estimate.
Oh,
it just closed?
well, wait a minute. Are we talking a Cooner cost or Sheriff Ball cost?
Sheriff Ball cost.
The vest,
Talking about like with the equipment? Like everything?
I wouldn't think the gun is, that's probably $3 grand. $3 grand?
Yeah, at the minimum.
Yeah, I'd say $3,000 to $5,000 to.
Thank you.
You're talking like coats and extra shirts and.
Yeah.
And holsters and, everything costs 40 to 50.
Do they turn in when if they leave?
Yes.
Yes, they do. Here's one thing with our shirts. We got a bunch of old shirts, our gray shirts. If you remember one of the 9 uniforms that we went to way back when, it's the gray polo, or not polo, but gray button-up shirts. We got a bunch of those in there right now, so I'm gonna take those downstairs and have the inmates, they're gonna take off the name tags. I'm gonna get some Velcro sewn on, and I'm gonna issue those out to the jailers, so the jailers are all uniform. Because those first shirts are perfect. They're good quality shirts, long sleeve and short sleeve. We got them back there sitting. So I'm gonna have one of the inmates start taking the names off, get some Velcro, so that way if they quit, I just rip that name off and then go get a new name, and that would save us money, and that would give another uniform for the jailers. 'Cause right now, they're wearing our deputy shirts, and that's what they're wearing. So just the hand-me-downs, if you will, because they're still pretty much brand new. 'Cause I only wore them for like a year, so they're still good shirts. But I'd like to have JD come in with his dog Alex, and he's gonna run his dog. It's just, JD's dog will lick your face off, and Humphrey's dog will bite your face off. So so just remain still. Just let him work his dog, and you see how he works. And it's gonna be pretty simple. He's not gonna run it everywhere and smell everybody, anything like that. But you'll see just. And then I'll let you meet Stitch. Stitch is Stitch.
Stitch is the one who'll bite your face off?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just to be clear.
Stitch doesn't like me.
He just thinks you taste good. Just doesn't want to let go.
Yeah.
What's that?
You find something under your table, you're getting arrested.
Yeah. Does anybody have anything in their pocket?
Thank you.
What a handsome fellow.
Nobody told them, are they? Okay.
Sweet tea.
Sheriff of Pulaski County.
Trace and odor.
Now, is he trying to explosives?
Alex.
I ain't got it.
He's tracing the odor. It's over here somewhere.
Both of our dogs are narcotics detection dogs.
I
Alex
It's been in here for a while.
Yeah, that's why he's kind of covered.
narcotics and tracking dog. He's a search and rescue tracking dog.
Wait,
Stitch is a.
that it? Show me. Yes.
Basically, if I was curious what he just sat for. I put 20 grams of heroin, 27 grams of heroin in this contraption down here. So. He just followed me. So.
What's he gonna be having?
So, like I was saying, Alex is a single purpose, narcotics dog, search and rescue dog. Stitch is a dual purpose, narcotics detection dog, we track him as well. He tracks fleeing suspects or, apprehension, stuff like that. And then he also has a patrol aspect where that's where you get the progression from, so. Alex is very lovable and friendly. If he comes by and licks your hand,
Alex is also, will be the dog that's with the community resource officer. When he goes around to schools, you see him at events. Alex will be the dog that'll be around most of all. I'm not going to say Stitch won't be around, but Alex is a little bit better for the crowd, so to speak.
Question, Dana Blainer. Dana, when you have death due to drug poisoning, are you taking dogs to the scenes to find the drugs?
We can, if we're requested to, we can find the narcotics inside the house with the dogs. It's less, as it says, less risk for me and Deputy Humphrey.
usually, I mean, there's other more meticulous questions that are asked though. One, do we have permission to be in the house, by the homeowner? And then two, if there's a risk of fentanyl or anything like that being there, we'll probably won't bring our dogs after the exposure.
Short answer, we can. Long answer, there's more questions to be asked.
What kind of dog is he? Just a straight?
Yeah,
He's the black lab.
the dogs are trained on opioids, but I mean, fentanyl, I mean, they're smelling it. So obviously they're going to have the same effect as,
Same effect on the dogs.
oh yeah,
He just turned 4 in October.
probably quicker because their olfactory is,
And they're much smaller.
So it's larger. Olfactory sensors for dogs are millions times
Right.
more than a human.
Maybe they're about size of it.
Oh, yes.
but there hasn't been many because I didn't tell them to send me their stuff, but they have been out and about. They are making stops. They are finding drugs out there in cars on their stops. So they do a good job. They're now going to send me their stuff because I'm like, damn, you dogs going to ever find drugs or what? And then I see all these pictures now that, I'm like, you didn't send me that. So besides our Lanig bus, I'll be posting some of that stuff as well. Of course, it's going to dictate. But, I want to give the dogs the credit too, because they're out there working their butts off, and finding stuff. And I haven't done them justice of putting that out until this last post. So a couple days ago. So they are out there working.
Found a metal pipe last night.
Hmm?
Found a metal pipe last night. Wasn't really any substance, so I can send it to you, but I think the cat is in the box.
We've had 9 seizures total in the past 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I've got a question. With what's going on with the southern border, President Trump and doing all that, has there been a decrease of drugs coming
No,
up this way?
no, it's an increase. Making big pushes.
That's surprising.
They're trying to get it away from the border. They're trying to push it further north.
It's gonna increase
Oh,
border
okay.
increases.
Oklahoma has been hitting it really hard. So, we get updates from them. I get updates from, DEA, stuff like that. So there's a lot of big drug busts down in the Oklahoma, Texas area, which 44 goes right that way. So, a lot of times they catch some of the bigger loads before they get here. So, just working on getting linked in with that network. In the event that they can't get it stopped there.
Do you anticipate it'll slow down at some point?
We've been fighting drugs for as long as I've been alive. So, I mean, I remember being a first grader, not just saying no to drugs. Already, I think push that. So, if I like to say yes, hopefully you'll see it trim down. So this can be a fun.
So here's how we're defeating, or we're trying to defeat, the drug scourge that's taken over Pulaski County for years. And Pulaski County seems to be the hub. We got Chicago, St. Louis, down 44 to Pulaski County. We got Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Pulaski County. And for some reason, they like to friggin' come here. If you've heard me, who's heard me or heard anything about Flock? Well, Flock are our license plate readers. Our license plate readers do just that, read license plates. They don't read, well, they only capture the data that we're looking for. So if I have your license plate in the Flock and I don't have your license, it's going to see your license plate, but it's only going to give us information on you. It's not going to give us information on every vehicle. Yeah. So, that's one way to defeat and become more proactive by using this system in a way that will help us. So if we have somebody coming from Oklahoma and they give us a license plate and we put it in our hot list, and if that license plate's our camera, it sends us real time. Right now, that car is going past whatever overpass, and we can head to that. We can head them off. Granted, we got to get there, but at least we got the alert and we can react and we can find the quickest route to or call for backup, call for Waynesville, St. Robert, and give them a description of the car, license plate, things like that to help intercept this vehicle. So that's one big way, and there are tens of thousands of flock cameras across the United States. It's people, I've been told that I'm going to go to court all the time because they're going to keep challenging me. Well, they've been in court so many times. There's tons of case law where I've got my flock policy. It's going to be on the app. It's going to be on the website. So it's going to be on the flock site for transparency. So anybody can see how we are using the flock cameras. Granted, and what I told the defense lawyer that was talking to me about this was the people entrusted me as the sheriff to take care of the constitutional rights, because this is a constitutional right issue, Fourth Amendment issue. That I'm not going to use that footage for something. Well, it's not designed like that. It's only designed for the information that a deputy puts in there. The deputy will be trained. He's got 3 courses of training to do, which I've already completed those. And the deputies are going to have to train them before they can even get into the system. And once they're in the system, they put their information in, and then it's just a matter of time, just waiting for the vehicle. Granted, that flock is going to be taking pictures all day long of cars coming by, but guess what? It ain't giving nobody anything, and it's no different from me walking past the back of your vehicle and taking a picture and putting it on Facebook. You have nothing except for a license plate. Every 30 days, the system's purged, and it starts fresh. So we have 30 days to more or less track the vehicle, surveillance, whatever. I mean, they told, well, you're illegally surveilling somebody. No, I'm not. I'm surveilling them just like I would a drug dealer's house and watching them and following them wherever they go. Whether I follow them to Kansas City, watch them do the drug drop and could bring them back down here to Pulaski County and pull them over in Pulaski County. So it's already, it is what it is, but my policy, my standards of how it's going to be used, it will be on the app, it will be on the website, it will be on the Flock website. So it's transparent of how we're going to use this information. Yes.
Do you guys, for the K9 vest, I know you posted a while ago that you guys were doing a donation. Have you fulfilled that or is it still?
We have not, that's still up, the 99 30 fundraiser. But did you submit your application?
I haven't got it finished yet. I've got to get him measured, then I get it submitted.
Because, and then I got more information. There are sites out there too that will donate, that can donate vests too. But the other thing with the 30-30, it wasn't just for vests, it was for, we got to buy our own training aids. We have nowhere for the dog to exercise out back right now. So I'd like to get a run built so that the dogs can exercise, that they can run the dogs up and down and over, and they can pick their dog up and climb over. So there's all different kinds of things that we can do with that money. But the vest was a big one because the dogs, they need protection. When they're chasing after somebody that's shooting at them, I mean, we deserve it. I mean, a lot of money and time and investment have been into the dogs, and these are our deputies right here. Their dogs are corporals. Unless you promoted her.
I just like when people ask.
So they're a part of our family.
Dog outweighs us.
Well, we had a meeting yesterday. We have another meeting next week. Each meeting, this is the third meeting we're going to have next week, and each meeting has gotten deeper and deeper in the app. This next one, if everything looks right, and the pages we have on there are what we want, no changes, then the other thing too, it depends on Apple. Apple is being kind of stupid right now, letting Chief get on there and whatever he's got to do with the app. Because we're gonna own it. And that's another thing I'll put out. By owning the app, it's ours. We can do whatever we want with the app. It's gonna have a strolling marquee with like 7 pictures. I've sold 4 ads right now, so the app and website total costs us $24,000. It's gonna cost us $11,000 upkeep for both each year. So what we're gonna do is sell ads for those pictures, $1,000 an ad, and like if a bondsman wanted to buy an ad, or a couple bondsmen wanted to buy an ad, I could put it on the inmate page, and it would scroll. But for the most part, they're going to be on the main page scrolling, and that money that if we sell all 7, that $7,000 will go towards paying the upkeep for the app next year. Towards that 11,000, and then we'll have the other 4. So just another way to help mitigate the costs for having something like that.
And it's free to the consumer.
It is 100% free.
And you'll be able to opt in not only for news feeds or anything like that, but any notification that we send out for anything, any push notifications, you'll be able to opt in or opt out of any of that stuff. Your National Weather Service stuff, and we're hoping at some point that OEM will kind of piggyback off of that, and he can start sending those notifications also.
OEM wants to piggyback.
Okay.
It's usually not up to OEM. No,
Yeah.
I see the value in the app.
So that way we'll be able to get more information out through those notifications.
Well, just on the emergency manager standpoint, Sheriff Kern in Phelps County, They use the app. Like I said, if you wanted to download their app, you could see it. You could always delete it too. But after that tornado hit, the amount of work that he would have had to do without that app would have been 4, 5, 6 days of work going around trying to hunt. But with that app, people were able to send pictures, send their address, and all the information they needed for the damage so they could turn it into FEMA or Red Cross or whoever. So just that aspect alone right there, I mean, saved a lot of man hours and probably paid for the app in one event. But I mean, that's just one of the many tools that that we're gonna have on this app. That I mean, once you get it, you're gonna be like, holy crap, it's unbelievable. The only thing it doesn't have is a game.
I am not good.
Is there anything else?
I'm gonna say a couple things from my observation. Stacy, I've known you a while. I've seen you before you were the sheriff. My name's Ben Rudy. First of all, thank you for the changes that you've made, just like my fellow counter citizen over here. The public can see a difference in this department. And I would say that that difference for me, I travel to all 23 towns in Pulaski County. I see you guys out there. And so that was something I never really saw much of. So that makes me happy. Like when I'm out in the middle, the boonies, if something were to happen, at least I know there's a sheriff nearby. It shows that you guys are being proactive, not just reactive. And I really appreciate that. I love the focus on training. You have an outstanding training guy that's going to really enhance this department. And then I do have a couple of questions. We're going to back up. We talked about the vacation list being on that app, Brooks. Is that something that's just private with you guys, or if I register, I'm going on vacation, I use the app. Now does the whole everybody with that get to see I'm on vacation? Or?
No, it specifically comes to us and only us. Actually, it goes to a central email, but
Dispatch, right?
yeah, to dispatch. And our dispatcher can read it and let the guys know, hey, we've got an extra patrol that needs to go out here, and then the deputies can let them know or go in and actually post it that they went to it. But no, that does not go to the public at all.
And it doesn't cost the citizen extra to
No.
have a dedicated watch on their property. I think
No.
that's outstanding. The jail downstairs, do you guys have a reentry navigator program here established? Or?
I talked about that earlier. That is one of the grants that we received. They are not working here yet, but that reentry navigator is supposed to be coming to the Pulaski County Jail and working down there to help.
And for the deputies, I know we asked.
You got stuck, Pitzel.
Can I actually get you working in the jail to come up front, and then you to come up front?
Come on.
Yeah.
This is soon to be Sergeant John Fuller, and this is Deputy Hetzel.
Yeah, so just looking at you guys, I know we had a long discussion about uniforms, some of y'all advice, there's funding, there's stuff that's been left, some of it's good, some of it's bad. What specifically, you as a jailer, what do you need for your uniform to do your job better?
Efficiently,
That you don't currently have?
we're supplied with everything that we need down to the jail. I mean, uniforms always change. They want to change uniforms.
Well, not pants.
Not pants, no. So it's black or tan pants. You caught me in an off day. Apologize for that. This is not what I normally wear, truth be told. But black tactical cargo pants, or khaki, unless he changes it otherwise. And then we have two options of shirts, a black or a gray shirt. Polo is the one I'm wearing, and then there's a black one that looks just like it, long sleeve or short. But everything else that we need in the jail, whether it be a taser, handcuff keys, that's all supplied. So that's all we use in the jail.
Right. So currently for the deputies, so everything on me, just like earlier Sergeant Cooter, I personally bought maybe 90% of this. I got 511 boots, 511 pants, first tactical shirts, PVC patches was supplied, my exterior piece, everything else supplied to me.
Main big concern for the road, pants are getting ripped. We're jumping on barbed wire, doing everything else. We're now implementing back the SRT, where we just switched colors from our originally was gray, now it's Ranger green. We're needing to go back over uniforms again. Plates, vests, things get worn out over time. Like I've had this maybe for 6 months and it's already getting a little bit of holes. There's just minor upkeeps with uniforms and stuff like that, for the daily needs for us.
Okay. That's what I just want to thank you guys for what you do on a daily basis. I personally know how much you guys work down there in the jail. Thank you. I know it's tough. And thank you for all the deputies out there, and thank you, Sheriff Paul and Chief. When I'll just say this for the public, I got to watch them behind the scenes with the tornado storm that came through. And I will tell you, every ounce of energy and resources went to this community immediately. And I saw Stacy Ball, taking a leading presence, commanding his deputies, putting them out in areas, responding to calls. I mean, y'all were everywhere.
Chief
So
went
just
Chief
thank
went down
you.
south
Good
with
job,
you.
because it's proactiveness like that builds the trust that we need. And the more trust that you guys have with the community, which you guys are definitely earning that. I love the Facebook posts. I get excited, almost cheer on when you're like, I need this guy.
Yes.
Well, the whole county's coming to rally around you to find him, and it's just how quick. I remember you posted something. By the time I made it here for something completely different, you were escorting him down the hall in cuffs, and I'm like, that was fast.
Oh, that was the
I
assault.
think it's amazing when watching y'all work together. I think the key here is the fact that you guys have started to build a trust. You're implementing good leadership, and you're working with your fellow counterparts. Man, it's a well-oiled machine right now. So good job on that. And you have our backing 100%. If there's anything you guys need, stuff like pants and tactical plates and vests, if we could just get that just as much as information, we can rally around you and help you out on that. So, thank you.
Thank you. God, I hope everyone's like this.
Yeah.
Translation, please.
Oh. He's happy to see y'all.
I am 100% full confident. I have full confidence on the system that we have called Hyperreach, right? The good thing about the sheriff app is that emergency notification deal. So my system works. It works. You sign up and it works. The one thing is it follows you. The next county has Hyperreach. If I'm not mistaken, the sheriff app is an app. So if you're anywhere within that, you have that app, you get a alert notification that my system may not be able to reach you, that app will reach you. So that's why we have confidence on that app. That's why I can see that mutual, relationship, a mutual connection between my alert system and your sheriff app. Is that it's going to reach more people than what my app or his app alone can do. So that's the plus, and that's an emergency manager when it comes to the weather alerts. I think also.
One of the things that everybody's talking about is information. The information that they're handing out is off the best I've seen in 8 years, hands down. One thing I think these guys need help with, or that can help you guys with, is information that you can get. You can understand what's going on by learning yourself, by all the handouts that they have. If you have any questions, you can ask any one of these guys. They're not going to hesitate to help answer those questions. So if you guys have any questions with anything that's got to do with drugs, break-ins, how to be a good witness, that'd be something you guys can touch on. And I think that would help our community help law enforcement.
Yeah, so all that stuff on the back table back there, that's all free. Grab whatever you need. There's some pretty high-speed pencils back there that change colors. They're pretty cool. You got kids, there's coloring books back there, and I mean, there's a great resource book back there that it's got the scan. You can scan it with your phone, Great resource tool. So that stuff is all here at the sheriff's office. So if you ever need it or think you need it, if you don't grab it tonight, you can always come back and grab it.
Yeah. So, can I talk real quick? I do want to say, just because I worked in the jail, I worked under a different administration, different people. And I know it's hard for the kind of community. The jail was the bigger issues, that the community faces because you guys don't know what goes on in there. I will say though, like this man, as he talks to you guys, that's how he talks to the detainees, you know. He comes down there every day, talks to them just like he would, you know, having lunch with you. It makes a big difference for morale. And there's a lot of policy changes that's in, you know, the better for the detainee and the correctional officer. So I just want to put that out there, like, there's a lot of changes to be made for the positive that he's doing. That's really.
Discipline.
Okay, well, yeah, there's that too. No, yeah. So, I just want you guys.
One last question. Will the community forum be a monthly event or are you still just?
It will be a monthly event, but if it gets any bigger, I'm gonna have to change. I would like to, what we talked about was going around each town. Like going to Crocker, then going to Dixon, going to Lakeway, going around to the different towns to, but the first couple I want to do here, just to get everybody, you know, coming, you know, and obviously, and make sure it's online so that way, if like the storm, people probably didn't come out because of the storm. So it's out there, and then they can always revert back to it on Pulaski Talks, and see that. So, probably after, the first two or three, I think the date for next month, I already got it on my calendar out there. I think it is.
Did you clear it with Lorenzo?
Oh, yeah. Even I got to go through my training guide. May 8th. May 8th at 6:30 is the next date that I'm gonna, will be the May community forum.
And with it being put on Facebook, we can forward it to our friends.
Yes.
I love to forward stuff.
Yep. I will make another event and I'll put it out and we'll just keep going through. I mean, nobody's got anything negative or any issues or,
My toes are cold.
huh?
My toes are
Correct.
cold. You're gonna catch my bedtime.
Okay, well, if there's nothing else, I mean, I guess this ends the community forum and feel free to grab some stuff.